Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about Reacher, Season 1, the Rundown Review. Reacher is a really good show on Amazon Prime. It was developed by Nick Santanora, but it's based off of a series of books by Lee Child. I'm not really sure how many of the Reacher novels there are. I believe there might be a total of probably about 15 probably. And 2 of them was adapted in the Tom Cruise Jack Reacher movies. Now, I've never seen the Tom Cruise Jack Reacher movies. I try not to watch too many Tom Cruise stuff because Tom Cruise is Tom Cruise. I did like a movie of his. He was with Jack Nicholson and Demi Moore. That was a good movie. I forgot what it was called. But I also saw him in Vanilla Sky, and I hated that movie. And so I just never really, focused too much on him and his erratic behavior and all this other stuff. Plus, he was supposed to play Iron Man in the first Iron Man movie, and he would have ruined it because he wanted the viewers to see his face 24/7 in the suit. Basically, it would have been a helmet type suit with a clear visor where you see his face. No. He has to look like Iron Man. So yeah, I'm glad he never took on that role. But yeah, I'm a little late to get into this show. It came out in February the 4th of 2022, but I just re-got Amazon Prime again, so I'm like, okay, I'll check it out. And it was like pretty good and everything. It's not perfect. You know, it has like a few flaws in it, but you know, all in all, it's pretty good. It has some really good action. It has some really good gunfights, some really good car chases. A really good like crime, like cop thriller type thing, action, like you name it. I was also really happy to see Alan Richardson and Willa Fitzgerald in this because like I've been a fan of Alan ever since he was on Smallville playing Aquaman. He was like the first live action Aquaman to be like a badass, you know what I'm saying? But he was the second to be that of a badass because the first one was an animation in Justice League when that Aquaman was more like a barbarian type with blonde hair. And so like after that, the dude has done like other projects that I've seen him in and kind of haven't seen him in. I haven't finished none of those Ninja Turtle movies that he was in because I can't even get past the first 5-15 minutes of the first one, so I'm not even gonna bother with that. I've never seen Blue Mountain State, but I heard it's like very popular, and it came out with like a movie in 2016 when the show ended in 2011. Now, I did see him in Blood Drive. Blood Drive is a interesting show. I couldn't get past the first episode because it was too gross and too nasty. Basically, what it is that it's set in the future, a dystopian, post-apocalyptic type world, right? And basically, there's a bunch of people just driving around. It's kind of like Wacky Races, but more scary and stuff. Because the cars, they feed and drive on flesh. So they feed people to the cars, and that's really gross and nasty when you see the blood, the guts, and the flesh all mushing around looking like nasty paint. It's just disgusting. I'm like, I can't watch this. But if that's your thing, if you love race car movies and you love lots of nasty, bloody stuff and cars eating people, check it out. I don't know where you'll be able to find it now. It was on the Sci-Fi Network back in 2017. It might still be on the app. I don't know. You had to do some soul searching and stuff. And so, of course, he played like Hank Hall in like Titans. And he was great in that role. And I was pissed when they blew him up and everything. But it's like, oh, okay, that's why they got rid of him so he can do the Reacher show. And honestly, I don't blame him because Titans is a mess of a show that is very inconsistent. So would you rather be on a show where you're a co-star and you people are constantly complaining about your show, or do you want to take on the lead in your own show where people seem to really like? And so I don't blame that dude and stuff. But he's a really good actor with lots of charisma. He can sing, he can dance, he can act, he can fight. So yeah, and he's gonna be, I heard, in the new Fast and the Furious movie, Fast X. Don't know who he's playing, but he's gonna be in it. And I'm just not into like the Fast movies no more. They just kind of gotten weird and crazy. And Vin Diesel, I knew Vin Diesel was the problem behind most of that stuff. Like I just knew it and stuff. But yeah, he's gonna be in that. He'll probably play like Dom's other brother or something like that, or the villain, or like a military cop type person. You know, he'll probably be like that because you know The Rock doesn't want to do it no more because of the whole Vin thing. So he'll probably take over like a role like that. And so yeah, and stuff. And, you know, when it comes to Willa, like, I remember her from Scream, the TV show, and I've always been a fan of hers because of that. She was a pretty cool, like, you know, final girl and stuff. But then she did, like, another show after that got canceled. What was it? It was some show, like, I just couldn't get into. Wait, I saw her in Little Women, the TV show, the, PBS version 1, and that was really good. I like that. I think the show was called Dare Me. The one I didn't like I couldn't get into that. Like it was supposed to be like yeah, it was Dare Me. It only lasted for like a season. I just couldn't get into that. She played like a coach, and it was weird because I can't, like, it's weird. Because I know her from Scream playing a teenager, and because she has a very youthful like appearance and everything, because she's only like 31, but she always looks like a teenager, I couldn't take her serious as an adult playing a coach. Like I just couldn't see it, you know what I'm saying? And in Reacher, I couldn't see it as well as her playing like a cop when she was in uniform and with the ponytail. However, when she takes her hair down and she's wearing regular clothes, I'm like, fine, now I can finally see her as an adult. Stuff. But when she has that hair and that ponytail, man, it reminds me a little too much of Scream and everything. And so, like, when it comes to Malcolm Goodwin, I actually have no idea who he is, but like he was so good in this. Like I really want to see him in more stuff. But I've never seen that man in like a single like show or like a movie or like anything like that. And he was like just like really, really good and stuff. But Reacher, this, like I said, is based off Lee Child's book. And I never read the book, but I read the synopsis online, and it pretty much doesn't skip a beat. It's like, you know, it really is a true adaptation. They do change who the main killer person is and stuff. But that's about it. Because, you know, they all want people to be like, oh, okay, I know what's coming. Like, you know what I'm saying? Speaking of the bad people on this, when you watch this show, you will know straight up, like, who the actual villains are. Because one is pretty apparent. He's the mayor, and he like becomes the intern like police chief. And it's kind of like, okay, you're the mayor, you have no police experience, but all of a sudden you want to be the new police chief. So of course he only did that so he can like interfere. And of course, when you see like the shady, like redneck dudes, you know they're the villains and stuff. Because I remember one of them, cause okay, here's the other thing about the villains. There are like 5 main villains and a couple other ones, mostly hench people, right? And 3 of the main villains I have seen play villains in like other stuff. And one of them was a dirty cop in like Blade Trinity. He's playing another dirty cop. So when I saw this dude, I'm just like, where do I know you from? Like I know you from some TV show or some movie, but I couldn't think of it. And I'm like, oh, that's right, Blade Trinity. You play like another dirty cop. And stuff. But basically, Reacher is like this. Jack Reacher, who just goes by the name Reacher for some reason. He's like a former U.S. Army military police officer. And in the books, he's known as being like just a traveler. He roams America doing odd jobs. And so when he gets into Margrave, Georgia, like he finds out that his brother has been murdered. So he wants to figure out who did it. And so as soon as he arrives in like a diner to go eat, the cops are there already there to arrest him. And it's like, dude, what did he do? So of course they're trying to blame him from like the murders that's been going on there. So pretty much every time somebody ends up dead, which a lot of people end up dead, they always think it's him. They all like, ever since you came into town, like you murdered somebody, or people been dying and stuff like that. Because Margrave is like a small hick redneck type town. But I gotta say to this, one thing this show lacks is diversity. It's a predominantly white show. And you'd think since they will be in Georgia, there'll be like at least more black people and stuff, other than just like 2.5. Half is just this woman who hits on Finley, but that's about it. So you'd think there'd be more black folks in Georgia, but it's not. But I guess they wanted to have the whole setting of an old hick white town, and so that would make sense. And plus, a lot more black people are in Atlanta. But when they do go to Atlanta, you still don't see that many black people. So it does lack in diversity when it comes to both race, gender, and like sexuality and stuff like that. Because there's really only a few females, like there's only one real female like main person, and everybody else is just like a white dude and stuff. So it does lack diversity in that. But I get they trying to like set up the whole Georgia feel, because you know how Georgia is and stuff. So I can excuse it for like that, you know what I'm saying? And so when he gets arrested, he meets the police captain Finley, and he meets Roscoe. It's not here to name Roscoe. I just want to say Roscoe's like chicken and waffles. Like I just want to call her that. And so at some point they all start investigating like Joe's murder. Joe is his brother Jack Reacher. Now they do have flashbacks of him and Joe. And him and Joe were always getting in trouble. Pretty much when they just arrived in town, the local boys just want to fight them and stuff. So they're like, all right, they ain't gonna run away from a fight and stuff. And so basically they was constantly in trouble as a youth, you know what I'm saying? And then so like as he's trying to investigate the murder, here's the thing about Jack Reacher. I don't know if he's like this in the books, but this dude can read people and read situations very well. Too well, in fact. See, in the books he's like a tall, muscular man. That's how Alan is, tall and muscular and stuff, right? And I don't know what the Tom Cruise Jack Reacher was like, but this Reacher is perfect in like every way. Like the dude is skilled in hand-to-hand combat, okay, just like the books. He always wins his fights. Oh, by the way, the action, my God, the action is great in this show. Like, I wish the action scenes will last longer than what they do. And there's very few action scenes. There's probably like one in every episode, but it's brief. But my God, what they do is like amazing. And they're brutal. Like they're just killing people left and right. This is how Moon Knight should have been, and it wasn't. And so this is a problem I'm having with Amazon Prime when it comes to their action shows. There are few action scenes, but when they do deliver, they deliver in a major way. That's how Britannia is. Britannia should have had more action in the first season, well, in every season, but they don't. But when they do have action, it's very brief or non-apparent. And because you think, two neighboring, tribes will like hate each other, they will fight, and they don't. And it just sucks. And they have Romans in the show, and they don't fight. Anyway. So Jack Reacher, he's good at fighting, he's good at hand-to-hand combat, good at driving, good with guns. He's extremely strong. Like the man can break a cell phone with just one hand. He can pop the tie strings, like that police tie string stuff. He can break men's bones with ease, just like folding up like a blanket. Like that's how good he is at breaking bones. And he's too perfect in the way he read people. He can read people like a book, and he's never wrong. That's the thing. And that's the problem I'm having, is that his character is too perfect with no flaws. And a character needs to have flaws, especially if you're like, the protagonist. And what I don't understand is that a couple of other reviews I've heard from people talking about how great he is, and I'm just kind of like, well, why didn't they point out the flaw of him being too perfect? They do that with every, and I mean every, female-led character that they complain woke this and woke that. So it's kind of like, it shows you the type of people they are. If it's a strong female character and she's perfect, like Michael Burnham from Star Trek Discovery, they complain left and right, talking about how perfect she is, how she's the savior of the universe, how she's good at everything. Well, Jack Reacher is good at everything too, but he has no flaws. At least Michael Burnham, every once in a while, will have a flaw. She disobeys like authority and stuff and gets people killed. And so, but Jack doesn't really have no flaws for the most part, and yet people love him to death. So I don't get that double standard. Well, I get the double standard. And it proves just what I've been saying all along, but that whole toxic fan base, they just don't like diversity. They just like big, strong, muscular, white, straight men in TV and movies and stuff. And so, like, as they're investigating, you know, every time they get to like a new lead, going to like a new lead, these leads end up dead before they get there. So it's like, man, it's like they're always steps behind, because as soon as they figure out who is going to lead them to the next clue, that person ends up dead, and dead in a brutal way. Like, there are these, a cop and his wife, and they are literally crucified butt naked with the genitals removed and stuff. And it is disgusting, but it's edgy, you know what I'm saying? And you need that edge. Similar to Luther, that black cop series in Britain and stuff. Like, he's similar to Reacher. He reads people and it's brutal, but the problem with but the thing with Luther is that Luther messes up a lot and gets a lot of people hurt because he has flaws and he's not perfect. But Jack Reacher is perfect. And so they believe this man named Hobble is like dead, so they had to put his wife in like police protection, and it's an FBI agent who's helping them out named Picard. It just sounds like Captain Picard. And so, like, because that woman's husband was involved in like something like dirty, you know what I'm saying? And so they're trying to figure out what it is, but she's not telling them the truth and everything. And because, like, supposedly he had this job, but he never went to it. And so as they're investigating that, because that leads them to the whole Joe murder and stuff. And every person they come in contact with is like crooked in town. There are crooked politicians. There are crooked, dirty cops. And every time they think they're going to get to, like, you know, the person they need to get some information, that person is dead. And even when they contact this woman who had relations with Joe, she comes to visit. And then as soon as she comes to visit, she ends up murdered and stuff. And so they are having a hard time figuring this out, and then whoever the bad guys are, because they don't know, keeps buying like a lot of animal feed. And that's one thing that keeps being brought up, that Reacher keeps like talking about, like, who would need this much animal feed and stuff? It doesn't make no sense. And so, like, but they don't want to hear him out. They think he's just being like, you know, like, oh, that's nothing, it's just animal feed. But it's like a huge clue, and there's a payoff to that and stuff. And so, like, at some point in time, they all have to split up every now and then, do their own thing, and start, like, looking for new clues and stuff. We see how racist the cops are, and towards, like, you know, Finley, 'cause he's like a black, like, police chief, and he's really the only one there, and they want to protect, like, the white people who helped build the town and stuff like that. And he's trying to, like, expose them. When he goes to Alabama to check on some stuff, the cops there beat the snot out of him, and so he gets arrested. And while he's, like, you know, just like in the jail or something, they all like, oh, you know, you should have, like, told us you was a cop and all this other stuff. But it wouldn't have mattered because the dude's wearing a suit. What kind of, like, thief has, like, a suit that breaks into a person's house? Now, he does stand up for himself because Finley's a really cool character, and so is Roscoe. But there's a problem I had with a scene that happened after he was in the jail cell and stuff, is that when Roscoe is there and she, you know, had to, like, get him out and stuff, she defends him by like berating the white racist cops. Now that's good and everything, but the problem is it takes away from him defending himself and making her look like a white savior type thing. And here's the problem. Now, what she did was great, but also it was kind of wrong. There's a perfect way to do this and a wrong way to do this. It's the same thing that happened with the sex life of college girls and stuff. When that one girl defended that one black dude and she took away his hero moment, he should have defended himself. See, here's the thing. If it's like a predominantly white show and there's very few black people in it, let the black person defend themselves. Don't have the white person be the white savior. Because it's great that they get it and they want to stand up for that person, but it takes away from them defending themselves. Now, if it's more like a more diverse show, more predominantly black, and a white person decides she's going to defend the black person, then that is okay, because it makes them look like, okay, she gets it, you know what I'm saying? And now all white people are racist, because not all white people are racist, but the racist ones tend to outweigh that of the good ones, and that's the sad thing about that. And so, like, of course, Jack and Roscoe, they like do it. I hate when they make the main male and the main female just like hook up. And there is nudity in this show and a sex scene. I'm tired of seeing naked man booty, but at least they balanced it out with naked woman parts and stuff. Because that's something I've been noticing in modern day television. It's always like just naked man booty, and the woman's never naked. But at least they balanced it out to have both naked men and women and stuff. And so like it's getting kind of like, you know, dicey now, because the bad guys are always finding them. And of course, how are they always finding them? Because they're crooked cops and stuff like that. And so let me just hurry and get this part out of the way. There's a teeny tiny subplot with Roscoe and with Finley. With Roscoe, it turns out her dad died because he was murdered by the mayor. After doing some forensic stuff, they find out that his wound had a diamond pattern, and the mayor has like a diamond cane. And so she attacks the mayor and everything, ready to whoop his behind, but then Finley has to get her out of there, and like, I need to get you out of town because they're gonna come after you and kill you now, because they know you're on to them and stuff. And you know, and so if this would have had more episodes, because there's only 8 episodes in there an hour, it would have been nice to flesh that out more, other than giving a teeny tiny backstory into her, because it doesn't really go absolutely nowhere. So having that put into the show is kind of like pointless, but they had to give her something to do and her motivation, you know. And so she helps out with the woman who is like, you know, running from like the bad guys and stuff like that, Hubble's wife. It's funny because she's played by the woman who played Lana in Smallville, and of course Alan knows her and stuff, so that's kind of cool to get to reunite. But I don't know if they was in the same season. I don't know when Lana left exactly. And then with Finley, there's a lady who hits on him in like a bar, and he's not interested. Now he's always spinning his wedding ring and everything. Now everybody wants to know, why is Finley in the South? Because he's a city boy and everything. And so he tells the woman he's married, and she's still trying to get with him, but he's like, here to tell her that again. So then when he's talking with Jack, he informs Jack that his wife is actually dead. And that's why he left the city and came down to the South, because he wanted to leave everything his past in the past and start new and everything. But he can't get over his dead wife. He won't date, and he won't take off his wedding ring and stuff. So it would have been nice to flesh that out more, but because it's only 8 episodes, they couldn't. This is this whole 8-episode thing in TV show that's getting on my nerves. Make it 10, make it 13, or better yet, make it 20, because then you can flesh stuff out more. And so, like, Reacher has a friend who's like a private investigator. I thought they were probably more than just friends, but they're not. And she's really cool and everything, and she's helping out now. So, you know, after doing a whole bunch of investigating and a whole bunch of killing, I mean, a lot of people drop dead in this series, man. I will say this. The whole Jack being perfect thing, every time he's like, being hunted down by the bad guys, it's nighttime, they got guns and everything. I don't fear for him because he's too perfect. And I know he's going to get out of it okay. When Roscoe and Finley, however, are in danger and they're running from bad guys being hunted, I fear for them because they have flaws, they are not invincible, and they could literally wind up dead. It's kind of like the whole Superman thing. You will worry about Batman because he's human, but you don't worry about Superman. And that's kind of how Reacher is. He's like Superman Hercules. And so every time they try to make an intense moment where Reacher's being hunted down, I'm like, okay, whatever. But the moment Finley and the moment Roscoe are in harm's way, I'm just like, oh man, like, please don't kill them and everything. And then so, like, after a while, it's determined Hubble is actually alive and everything. He's in hiding. And it turns out that his wife finally decided to tell Roscoe the truth. And what that is that Kleiner, one of the main bad guys, he has like a money sting operation in or a money operation in Venezuela. And so what it is that he has a whole bunch of counterfeit money, right? And so they're trying to figure out what's the thing, how's he getting money transferred back and forth and stuff like that. So he tricks Hubble into working for him and makes him do something illegal. And he's all like, now you can't like walk away from this because your hands are dirty from like money laundering. Is that what they call it? And he's all like, and then he like does this thing where he scares the piss out of him. He keeps him trapped in like a horse barn and everything. And he wants him to think about it. Then he sends in some guys to murder a man to get him crucified and stuff. That's how they do things like over there. And that's how like, that one cop was crucified, stuff like that. Because he wanted to scare the piss out of him. And it worked. But it worked too well that way he just ran away from his family. And then so Reacher eventually finds him and stuff and finds out what Joe was trying to do. Joe was trying to stop this big like money like organization, like counterfeit money type stuff. And so like then it's revealed that Picard, the FBI agent, is crooked. I mean, come on, he was in Blade Trinity, so and stuff. And so this whole time, like, he's trying to help like the woman out, but really he's like the bad guy. And the mayor's the bad guy. But then here's the problem. They think Kleiner is the main bad dude like he is in the book. But no, turns out his son, KJ, murdered him. And KJ takes over the operation. That's different from the books because KJ is killed by Reacher in the book. He also has like a cousin that helps him out. That cousin played like a bad guy in Slasher season 4. So this is how they do the money scheme thing. They use the animal feed and they like make it into like a liquid, and they use the compound powder, liquid, whatever you want to call it, and they bleach like $1 bills. Then they print the fake money on there to make it into $100 bills with the real $100. And then they print it old school way, so it doesn't have like what he said, a magnetic strip on $100 bills, but I didn't know they had that. I know they have a lot of stuff on new $100 bills and $20 bills and stuff, but I don't know exactly what it is. It's to detect like fake stuff. Man, technology, boy, I swear. And so they crumble up like the real $100 bills, so nobody will like think twice about that. And then the fake $100 bills are completely clean and stuff. And so that's what they do. They clean off the $1 bills and they print the $100 bills on them. And instead of going from Venezuela to America, they ship it from America to Venezuela and everything. And so that's what got Joe killed. And so his son's gonna take over. Now his son KJ, he's not very threatening like his dad. But it turns out KJ is the one who killed multiple people in this show, especially Joe Reacher. And it's just, he doesn't seem that intimidating or scary and everything. So what they should have did was the cousin. his cousin looks way more intimidating than him, but he was more like the hired goon type thing. And so, like, they're all gonna, like, you know, because now Roscoe and Hubble's wife and the two kids, they're in danger. And so after Jack like shoots Picard and everything, thinks he's dead, he and his friend and Finley and Hubble, they're all gonna rescue the ladies and stuff. And they do. It's a huge shootout. There's fire, flames in the back. Now the flames in the back, that was so CGI. You can tell. Like, you can tell that was some CGI fire. And but when that man got burnt alive, ooh, that was real. You could tell that was practical and stuff. And so everybody has somebody to square off with, and they fight. Hubble rescues his family. Finley, well, Picard turns out to be alive, and Finley fights him. Now, in the book, it's different. It's Reacher who fights Picard and kills him. Finley makes a distraction and kills him, but it's different in the show. So it's Finley and it's Picard, and they have a huge fight, and Finley kills the crap out of him. Now, that was brutal. That's how Night Moon should have been. Moon Knight, not Night Moon, Moon Knight. Yeah, Roscoe and the mayor, they're going at it and everything. And so, like, you know, because she has to avenge her father's death and everything. And so she does. And, so she kills him. And then, of course, it's Jack versus that of KJ. And I will say this. Reacher's been able to kill people left and right, but when it comes to KJ and his cousin, those are the only two times where he had struggled trying to fight and everything. And so the fight between KJ and Reacher wasn't really all that impressive. It's mostly just Reacher hiding in the shadows, and it's KJ just running around with a rifle. But then eventually they fight, they struggle a bit, and then he sets them on fire and kills them. After that, just like in the book, he bangs Roscoe, but decided his life is too hectic and he'll put her in harm's way. So he leaves her and everything. She's going to rebuild the town her dad helped build. Finley has decided he's going back up north and everything. And so they all part ways. And we see Jack walking the streets and, you know, trying to hitchhike. Nobody will give him a ride because people in town don't like him and stuff. And so it has gotten renewed for a second season. But the creator said, don't expect Roscoe or Finley to show back up. Because, you know, in the books, that's what Jack does. He wanders America and does odd jobs. So we're going to see that. And I have to say, it's very disappointing because, like, they make a great team. Like, they're a good team together, and I like that cast. So it's gonna suck to see them have to split up now, and Jack goes his own way. I hope in the second season they bring in other stars that are just as cool and everything. But yeah, I'm gonna miss Willa, and I'm gonna miss Malcolm and stuff. Man, they made a great, like, crime fighting team. It's just gonna suck to see them go. But oh well, you know. So if they make making the second season, they'll probably come out next year. A lot of the books are actually prequels, so I don't know if they'll ever actually do that. Now we do get to see an adult Joe, because just like in because in the books, I don't know about the book, but the TV show, there's a flashback scene where their mom is dying, and so Jack was still in the military at that time, and they go to visit her, and you know, it's said that both brothers look very similar. When they're younger, they look similar, but when they're older, they didn't really look alike. Like, Joe's hair was just too long and everything, and it didn't really look like Jack and stuff. So that was kind of weird. But yeah, it's a really good show. It does have a bit flaws in it. It's great acting all around. This is the first time I ever saw Alan play like a nice guy, you know. Because the thing about Reacher is that he's former military, so he has this bleakness to him and everything. He has like no charisma when he talks, and that's weird because every time I see Alan in a project, he has lots of charisma and everything. So it was weird seeing him take on a role that's very much different than what he's used to. And it was also weird because normally when you see military folks in like TV shows, they have this stone cold Stonewall type face, you know, and personality and the way they talk. And so, like, you know, So it's just weird seeing him play like a bleak type person with really no personality. But he has some humorous scenes, but it comes off kind of like a Commander Data thing, where he's so straightforward that the things he say or do come off as kind of weird, you know? But yeah, all in all, it's great acting all around. It's like some great action. It's great storytelling. But it does kind of hard to follow at times, because in the beginning, I keep hearing all these names, but I don't know who none of those characters are and stuff. But when I see them, I'm like, okay, I know who they are. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.